Welcome back to Careless Camera. I am still sad about what happened on Shishapangma as I read and listened to more and more about what happened that fateful day. The climbers have spoken out as they cross the border back in Nepal and tell a story of toxic competition and disastrous consequences. I have already spoken about the race between Gutu and Gina in the first video. The link is on top right of the screen and in the description as well. In this video, I am focusing on what we know happened after the teams left summit of Cho Oyu, as described by Naila Kiani on her Instagram, and while talking to Explorer Web, she said, and I quote, "I didn't know Anna, but she gave me her hand warmers when I was freezing cold on Cho Oyu, and that made me appreciate her." Gina called Anna the Instagram climber, but I think Anna was a really nice girl. Things went really sour after we climbed Cho Oyu and returned to base camp. Gina had left just a few hours before, and we expected to leave right away, but we were delayed by local authorities and then had several problems with the yaks. Although there is no proof, team members were suspicious that Rzucidlo might have encouraged the officers to stall the second team in order to delay Anna Gutu's transfer to Shishapangma. In order to get Anna there in time, we had to leave our duffel bags behind and head to Shishapangma base camp with only the gear we needed for the summit push. That made us all angry." Unquote. Now that everyone was at the base camp, the race was on. Gina Rzucidlo set off before the elite expedition, and Imagine Nepal team reached the mountain but stopped at Camp 2 because there was no open trail and no ropes, Naila Kiani said. The joint team of Elite Expedition and Imagine Nepal reached Shishapangma Base Camp on October 6th and started right away. They hurried to Camp 1, planning October 7th as their summit day. Uta Ibrahimi, also on the mountain, said both Gina Rzucidlo and Anna Gutu were on oxygen when they arrived at Camp 1. It's very unusual to use oxygen this low, especially on lesser 8,000ers like 8,027 meters Shishapangma. But it is credible that both wanted every advantage in their race to the summit. Gutu was supported by Mingmar and Karma Guyalzin, and Rzucidlo was guided by Kami Rita Sherpa and especially by Tenjen Lama, one of the strongest of all Sherpa climbers working today. Meanwhile, beyond Camp 2, everybody seemed to be waiting for us to break the trail and fix the ropes, said Kiani. It was really hard going for us. The team broke the trail but decided not to fix ropes. It was only us breaking trail and it was exhausting, Kedev confirmed. More people came only after 5 or 6 hours. As dawn broke, they were approaching the upper slopes of Shishapangma. Like most teams in recent years, they didn't go for the classic route that followed the long, sharp summit ridge and across the central summit. Above Camp 3, they deviated toward the main summit wall in order to go up one of the snow couloirs. They aimed to reach the summit ridge as close as possible to the highest point. Or at least, that is what most did. Anna Gutu's group, well ahead of everyone else on her team, deviated from Camp 2 toward a point on the ridge. I kept pace with Anna for 6 hours where her anxiety was obvious, but eventually I had to stop to take my sunglasses out and fell behind, Naila Kiani said. That probably saved my life. Gutu went straight up with 2 Sherpas despite the team saying to turn left. Kiani says she wasn't sure if Gutu was heading for the wrong summit or hoping to take the classic route to the beginning of the ridge. After some thought, I decided to keep walking toward Camp 3, which looked like a longer but safer and correct route, she said. Meanwhile, Gina Rzucidlo was still a little below and on a different line, but hurrying up. Gina Rzucidlo's group overtook us at an almost terrifying speed, Naoki Ishikawa said. There was no fixed rope, so Tenjen Lama took the lead with 2 axes and pulled Gina with a rope. Most clients were short-roped by their personal Sherpa guides, Kiani notes. Kedev estimates that Rzucidlo's group passed them right before Camp 3. This video by Naila Kiani shows the remarkable speed at which Kami Rita, in blue, passed them. Gina Rzucidlo and Tenjin Lama are the two small figures above him. By now, the two women and their sherpas were climbing along different lines. Right after Gina, it was me and Kilu Sherpa, one of the Winter K2 summiters, Naoki Ishikawa said. Anna climbed in a diagonal directly toward the summit, while Gina chose a line going from left to right, across a gentle slope that had to be traversed. Ishikawa and Kilu followed Gina's line, which they believed led to the correct summit, while Anna was heading toward a false point. We saw it clearly after Camp 3. Anna's summit was not the top. Naila Kiani added, in addition, Gina was led by Tenjin Lama, who knew the way after having led Kristen Harala last spring. Anna eventually found out that she was going in the wrong direction because at about 7,700 meters they stopped for an hour. But then they moved up again. I also kept climbing until Nims came and told me to stop, to take a break. Sirbaz Khan, like Nims. Climbing without oxygen came too, and we stopped, although I had not reached a flat spot yet, said Naila Kiani. At the traverse, slightly ahead, Ishikawa and Kilu took advantage of the easy terrain to take a rest and eat a little under a serac. The rest of the group was in the same area. We were at the traverse when the first avalanche happened, Sashko said. Nims suddenly shouted, "Avalanche! Avalanche!" said Kiani. We were protected by the serac and nothing happened to us. The radio soon reported that Gutu, Karma Gyalzen, and Mingmar had been caught in the slide. It soon gave word that Gutu and Mingmar were dead. I don't know if Tenjin Lama and Gina Rzucidlo, who were ahead of us, knew about the avalanche that hit Anna and the others, Ishikawa said, noting that the teams used different radio frequencies. In this video shot some 20 minutes after the accident, two rescuers on the far left are trying to get Mingmar out of the snow. Then someone is standing where Gutu is laying. Later, when the video slows down, the three distant little dots are Rzucidlo's group. On the far right, standing and sitting again, is Karma Gyalzen and one other unidentified climber. By the disturbance in the snow in the video, you can make out the path of the avalanche. Gutu and Mingmar were now hot on the heels of Gina and her group before they were swept down. Remember, Gutu lost time by losing the way earlier. Several sources on the mountain claim that base camp did tell Rzucidlo to stop and turn around, but we can't yet confirm this, added Kiani. I looked up to the summit, some 350 meters above. It was blue ice, with no ropes, so difficult. I didn't know if there was someone injured in the avalanche, but my legs were shaking violently. I turned around. Kiani said, someone told her to keep climbing, but she refused. Tracee Metcalfe went down with her. They didn't see the second avalanche. According to Kiani, that didn't happen 2 hours later, but just 30 minutes after the first one. Uta Ibrahimi also took the video of the incident and shared on her Instagram. You can now hear her views too in the video.
Ekipa cila ishte në mes. Got hit.
Gina Rzucidlo's group had continued climbing. Ishikawa contacted Mingmar behind, who decided it was too dangerous to proceed. Ishikawa took a photo of where, at 7,800 meters, they turned around. "But that was not the end," he said. "As we started down, the snow rose again around us. Sherpas stayed there a bit longer, and he saw the second avalanche," Kedev said. "The lesson, while not new, is that the death zone is no place for competition," says Tracee Metcalfe. "As much as I am sad for the loss of their lives and so sorry for the families too, I feel it's important to share this story for us to learn from this experience," Kiani said. "Records don't mean anything if we aren't there anymore." And two Sherpa climbers with a bright future also perished doing their jobs. Naila Kiani further said Gina, her Sherpas, were informed of the avalanche but kept climbing. One can assume they kept climbing in pursuit of the record of being the first women from USA to climb all 14 8,000-meter peaks. This pursuit of a record contributed to the loss of 4 lives. We all share responsibility for this tragedy. If we prioritize the love of climbing over records and cultivate a culture that rejects toxic competition, perhaps such heartbreak can be prevented in the future. This accident has impacted us all at Careless Camera. We have tried to present the quotes and facts as told by the climbers. In case we have made any mistake, do let us know in the comments. Please subscribe to Careless Camera and check out our other amateur videos. This video is dedicated to Anna, Gina, Lama, and Mingmar. May their souls rest in peace.